I gave your apartment keys to my daughter. She's moving in while you're on vacation, Mom said. I'd been gone 4 days of a 10-day trip. Sister had changed my locks. Put her furniture in. Dad, you're never there anyway, Cher. I didn't cut the trip short. I called my landlord from Greece. 10 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. The moment my mom said, I gave your apartment keys to your sister. She's moving in while you're on vacation. I knew something inside me had finally gone quiet. Not anger, not panic, just clarity. It was 8:47 p.m. in Santorini. I was standing on a balcony with my wife, Kara, our son asleep behind us, and the Aegean doing its whole postcard thing. Blue water, white walls, people laughing like life was easy. The air smelled like salt and sunscreen. Somewhere below us, a scooter coughed its way up a hill. My mom's voice didn't sound like a request. It sounded like a decision. She needs stability, she added, like that ended the discussion. Kara watched my face change. My throat tightened. My fingertips went numb around the phone. I felt that weird, familiar pressure in my chest, the one I get when I realize I'm about to be reasonable again, even when nobody else is. In the background, I heard my dad. You're never there anyway. Cher. I stared at the horizon and realized they weren't asking anymore. They were taking. Okay, I said, calm enough to surprise myself. Then I did something none of them expected. I didn't argue. I called my landlord. My name is Benjamin. I'm 39 years old. I work as an accountant for a regional grocery store chain, 47 locations across 3 states. Most people in my family think I'm an actor. That's the label they've kept on me since my early 20s, like it's my permanent personality. The unreliable one. The creative one. The one who will figure it out someday. What they don't know is that I'm the guy who signs off on budgets bigger than their entire neighborhood. My base salary is $142,000, plus a 12% bonus when we hit targets. And because life is weird, I still do occasional acting work, commercials, voiceovers. Nothing glamorous. But it adds another $18,000 to $25,000 a year. I stopped correcting them a long time ago. Because the moment they thought I was doing well, the requests stopped being small. They turned into plans. Plans that somehow always involved my money, my time, or my space. Like this one. I was the middle kid. My sister Danielle is younger by 3 years, and she's been the family's soft spot since the day she was born. If Danielle cried, everyone moved. If I struggled, I was told to toughen up. Growing up, it sounded like this. Danielle, I'm stressed. Mom, you poor thing. Sit down. I'll handle it. Me, I need help with tuition paperwork. Dad, you're smart. Figure it out. Danielle was the one with a big heart. I was the one who's good with numbers. That sounds like a compliment until you realize what it meant in practice. It meant I became the family's unpaid customer support line. When Danielle got her first apartment and didn't understand the lease, I read it. When she got her first credit card and accidentally maxed it out, I paid it down so her interest wouldn't bury her. When she had her first baby and said, I can't do this, I showed up with diapers, formula, and a $600 grocery gift card. And every time I tried to set a limit, my mom would smile like she was soothing a child. Benjamin, she'd say, family helps family. That phrase has been used on me like a crowbar. I didn't always roll over, though. I just learned to say no quietly. And I learned something else. If my family thought I had money, they treated it like community property. So I let them keep their story. Benjamin the actor. Benjamin the dreamer. Benjamin the one who doesn't have anything stable. It kept me safer. Or I thought it did. Kara noticed it before I did. We'd been married 6 years. She's the kind of woman who can read a room the way I read a spreadsheet. She doesn't interrupt. She just watches, remembers, and calls things by their real names. The first time she met my parents, my mom hugged her and said, "Thank you for loving him. He needs someone steady." Kara smiled politely, then whispered to me later, "Your mom talks about you like you're a project." I laughed it off. Then, after Danielle's third emergency, Kara said, "Ben, I'm not saying don't help. I'm saying they're getting comfortable with you being the solution." I said the line I always said. She's family. Kara looked at me and said, "So are you." That stuck, but not enough. Not yet. Danielle's life was always one small step away from falling apart. She was charming, funny, the kind of person who could make strangers like her in 30 seconds. But behind that charm, there was a pattern. A job that wasn't a good fit. A boss who had it out for her. A friend who betrayed her. A landlord who was unfair. A boyfriend who promised he'd change. Right before our Greece trip, she'd been between places. That's how she said it. Not evicted. Not late on rent. Not ignored warnings. Between places. Mom called me 2 weeks before the flight. Danielle might need to stay with you for a bit, she said. I was in my kitchen, staring at my laptop. Kara was packing snacks for our son in the other room. My calendar was open with every bill and auto payment mapped out, because that's who I am. It calms me down to see numbers behave. How long is a bit? I asked. Oh, honey, Mom said, like I was being dramatic. Just until she gets settled. Settled where? Silence. Then, you have a second bedroom. I did. And that second bedroom was our kids' room. The trip to Greece was the first vacation Kara and I had taken in 3 years that didn't involve a family obligation or someone else's crisis. I'm not doing that, I said. Mom's tone cooled instantly. So you're turning your back on your sister. I'm protecting my family, I said. My dad got on the line. He does that when Mom wants backup. You're being selfish, he said. Your sister needs help. Kara stood in the doorway, arms crossed, quiet. I kept my voice steady. We're leaving the country. There's no way I'm handing my keys to anyone. Mom sighed like she was disappointed in me as a human. Fine. Then she said, we'll figure it out. I believed her. That was my mistake. Because I forgot something important. My mom's version of figuring it out has always meant deciding for me and calling it love. For days into the trip, we were at a small restaurant near the water. The bill for the 3 of us came to €84, grilled fish, salad, and something Kara insisted was the best lemon dessert on earth. Our son was half asleep in my lap. Kara was smiling. I remember thinking, maybe we're finally okay. Then my phone buzzed. Mom's name. I almost didn't answer. I did anyway. That's how conditioning works. Benjamin, she said, too cheerful. Don't panic. My stomach dropped. I have learned that phrase means, we already did the thing. What happened? I asked. Well, she said, I gave your apartment keys to Danielle. I sat up straighter. Kara's smile faded. You did what? She's moving in while you're on vacation, Mom said, like she was describing borrowing a sweater. I felt heat rush up my neck. My heart started doing that fast, shallow thing. My hands went cold. You had my keys? I asked. I've always had a spare, she said. For emergencies. That spare key story had history. Years ago, when my old lock jammed and I was locked out, my mom helped me get in. She'd kept a copy just in case. I never took it back because it felt petty at the time. Like I was accusing her of something she'd never do. Now I realized I wasn't petty back then. I was naive. This is not an emergency, I said. Mom didn't even pause. She needed a place. You're never there anyway. In the background, I heard a voice, Danielle's, laughing. Then Dad's voice, louder, Cher. You're gone. What's the problem? Kara leaned in, quietly. Ben. Don't argue. Fix it. I swallowed. My mouth tasted metallic. Okay, I said. Mom sounded relieved. See? I knew you'd understand. I didn't correct her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I just stood up, walked away from the table, and called my landlord. My landlord's name is Mr. Haskins. 60-something. Retired firefighter. Owns 3 small buildings. Not a corporate guy. He likes things simple and legal. He answered on the second ring. Ben? Everything okay? No, I said. Someone broke into my apartment. There was a beat of silence. What do you mean? My mom gave my spare keys to my sister. She changed the locks and moved furniture in. What? His voice sharpened immediately. You didn't authorize that? No. All right, he said. Text me. Now. I need the details. I sent him a short message. Unauthorized entry. No permission. I'm out of the country. Please secure unit. He called me back within 2 minutes. I'm heading over, he said. If she changed the locks, that's illegal. I'm calling the locksmith and the police. My chest loosened slightly. Kara watched me like she was watching someone come back to life. Do it, I said. And I'll pay whatever it costs. You pay rent on time, he said. This isn't your fault. I hung up and immediately got 3 calls from my mom. I didn't answer. My phone started lighting up like a slot machine. Danielle, where are you? Danielle, he's trying to kick me out. Mom, answer me. Dad, don't make this ugly. Mom, your sister has children. Dad, you're embarrassing the family. Kara reached for my hand. What did you do? I called Haskins, I said. He's going to the apartment. Kara nodded once. Good. I stared at the table we'd left behind, our food cooling, the ocean still there like nothing happened. And I realized something. For the first time in my life, I wasn't negotiating. I was acting. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. Mr. Haskins. I answered immediately. His voice was low and controlled. I'm here, he said. Your sister is inside. She's yelling that she lives here now. Kara's jaw tightened. I closed my eyes for 1 second. Put me on speaker, I said. A muffled shift. Then Danielle's voice, loud and sharp. Benjamin, tell him this is fine. Mom said it's fine. I spoke calmly. Danielle, you don't live there. Yes, I do, she snapped. You're never there. You can stay with Kara. I have kids. You changed my locks, I said. So, she said, like I was nitpicking. I needed security. Mr. Haskins cut in, firm. Ma'am, you are not on the lease. You cannot be here. The police are on the way. Danielle went from angry to wounded in 2 seconds. This is what you're doing, she cried. To your own sister? While I'm struggling. I didn't match her emotion. I didn't rise to it. I didn't put you in this position, I said. And you don't fix it by taking my home. Then I heard another voice, my mom, breathless. Benjamin, stop. Stop right now. We'll talk when you get back. I felt something settle inside me, heavy and final. We're talking now, I said. Danielle is leaving. Dad's voice cut through. You're being cruel. It was always that word. Not we crossed a line. Not we made a mistake. Just, you're the problem because you won't absorb this quietly. I said, I'm being clear. Then I did the one thing they never expected from me. I ended the call. 20 minutes later, Mr. Haskins texted me. Police escorted her out. Locksmith changed the locks. New keys will be in office. Also, she tried to claim you gave permission. I told her I spoke to you. She left screaming. My hands were shaking, but my mind was weirdly quiet. Kara exhaled slowly. They really did it. Yeah, I said. They really did. Then I got a voicemail from my dad. I listened to it once. His voice was cold. If you press this, you're not welcome at our house anymore. It hit me like a familiar slap. Not the threat. The assumption. The assumption that I would fold. Kara sat beside me on the hotel bed, our son asleep between us. You know, she said softly, you don't have to keep auditioning for a role they never cast you in. I stared at the wall. I don't think I can go back to normal, I said. Kara nodded. Good. When we landed back home 6 days later, we didn't go to my parents' house. We went straight to Mr. Haskins' office. He handed me 2 new keys and a printed report. I documented everything, he said. Dates, times, police incident number, locksmith invoice. Your unit is secure. How much do I owe you? I asked. He waved me off. Just keep paying rent like you do. Then he paused and looked at me like an older brother. Ben, he said, you know this doesn't stop unless you stop it. I nodded. I know. Kara squeezed my arm. We drove to the apartment. The locks were new. The doormat Danielle brought, some cheesy bless this mess thing, was gone. Inside, a few things were out of place. A picture frame turned face down. A cabinet door slightly ajar. My spare set of sheets missing. Nothing huge, but enough to make my skin crawl. Like my privacy had fingerprints on it. Kara walked through each room like she was clearing a crime scene from her life. This is the line, she said quietly. This is where it changes. I went into the kitchen and opened the drawer where I kept important papers. My passport copies. Our son's birth certificate. Lease documents. All still there. They hadn't taken my identity. They just tried to take my space. Which, honestly, was almost worse. Because it meant they thought they had the right. That night, my mom showed up at my door. No call. No text. Just a knock like she owned the hallway. I didn't open it. I stood behind the door and listened. Benjamin, she said, sweet as sugar. We need to talk. Kara stood beside me, silent. I said through the door, send a text. We'll talk later. Mom's tone changed instantly. Don't be dramatic. Danielle is crying. The kids are confused. You embarrassed her. There it was. Not you scared us. Not we crossed a line. Just, you made her feel something unpleasant. I kept my voice even. Danielle embarrassed herself. Mom snapped. How dare you? I almost laughed again. How dare I what? I asked. Protect my home? You called the police on family, she hissed. I called my landlord, I said. The police came because she broke in. Mom went quiet for a second, then tried a softer voice. Ben, she said, you know your sister. She's sensitive. She didn't mean harm. Kara's hand found mine. I felt my pulse in my fingertips. Mom, I said, you gave someone my keys without asking me. That's not sensitivity. That's entitlement. Mom's voice hardened. So what now? You're going to punish her. I didn't take the bait. I'm going to protect my family, I said. Good night. Then I walked away from the door, and I let her stand there, knocking into silence. Over the next week, the calls came in waves. My aunt, your mother is devastated. My cousin, Danielle, is telling everyone you left her and the kids on the street. My dad, this isn't you. Someone's gotten into your head. That one almost made me smile. Because yes, someone had gotten into my head. It was me. The version of me that had been buried under years of be the bigger person. Danielle also sent voice notes from different numbers. I didn't play them. I didn't need the emotional soundtrack. I already knew the plot. Tears, blame, then anger. Kara and I had one hard conversation with our son, even though he was young. We kept it simple. Some grown-ups don't follow house rules, Kara told him. So we're making new rules to keep our home safe. He nodded like that made perfect sense. Kids understand boundaries faster than adults do. I blocked Danielle first. Then I blocked my mom. Then my dad. I didn't announce it. I didn't post about it. I didn't make a dramatic speech. I just stopped responding. And then I did the part that actually changed everything. I called Mr. Haskins again. I want to end my lease early, I said. He didn't sound surprised. I can work with you. Within 48 hours, Kara and I had a plan. Not impulsive. Not emotional. Practical. I pulled our credit reports. I moved our savings into accounts with stronger privacy settings. I scheduled a consultation with a real estate attorney. 30 minutes, $250, and the best money I spent that month. We didn't buy some flashy mansion. We bought a modest townhouse in a gated community with good schools. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that screamed money. Just safe. Private. Purchase price, $389,000. Down payment, $110,000. I paid it from an account my family didn't know existed. Because the truth is, I didn't hide my finances because I was ashamed. I hid them because I knew my family would treat them like a buffet. When my parents realized I wasn't answering, they switched tactics. They showed up at Kara's job. They contacted my coworkers on Facebook. They sent a letter to my old address. Handwritten, dramatic, full of phrases like, after everything we've done for you. Kara picked it up off the floor one afternoon and read it out loud like she was reading a script in a bad audition. Benjamin, she read, you have broken this family's heart. I sat at our kitchen counter, calm, and said, no. They broke the illusion that they respected me. Kara folded the letter and tossed it in the trash. Then she said, do you want to respond at all? I thought about it. I thought about the years of explaining myself. The years of trying to be understood by people who benefited from misunderstanding me. I opened my laptop and wrote one email. To my mom, my dad, Danielle. Short, clean, no insults. I did not give permission for anyone to enter my home. You crossed a legal and personal boundary. I will not be discussing this further. Do not contact my wife. Do not show up unannounced. If you want a relationship with me in the future, it will be based on respect and consent, not pressure. Then I added one final line. Family is not a free pass. I hit send, and I muted the thread. The next few months were quieter than I expected. Not because my family suddenly became reasonable, because they ran out of access. Without me answering, there was no argument. No fuel. No stage. Danielle tried to rally people, but something interesting happened. When she couldn't use me as the solution, people started seeing the pattern. My cousin Trevor, who I barely talked to, texted me one night. I didn't know they did that. That's messed up. Proud of you for holding the line. I stared at that message for a long time. Not because I needed praise. Because it was the first time someone in my family acknowledged reality without trying to bend it. Even my dad, eventually, cracked. He called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered by accident. His voice sounded older. Ben, he said, quieter than usual. Your mom won't stop. I know, I said. He hesitated. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I almost laughed again. That's the part that always amazed me. They could do anything to me. But the moment I responded with consequences, it was unthinkable. I didn't leave, I said. I moved forward. Dad exhaled. Your mother says you've changed. I hope so, I said. There was a long pause. Then he said, your sister's blaming everyone. She says you did it to hurt her. I kept my voice steady. Dad, I did it to protect my family. My grandkids, he tried. I didn't lock her out of her own home, I said. I locked her out of mine. He didn't argue with that. He just said quietly, I'm sorry. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't poetic. But it was the closest thing to accountability I'd ever gotten from him. So I said, if you want to see us, you can. But it's on my terms. He agreed. And for once, he showed up alone. It's been 9 months now. Danielle still doesn't talk to me. She tells people I abandoned her. My mom sends occasional messages through extended family, testing the fence like a dog hoping the gate is open. My dad and I have a cautious relationship. He comes over. He plays with my son. He doesn't bring up Danielle. He doesn't bring up my mom's opinion of me. And I don't pretend we're closer than we are. Kara and I sleep better. My phone doesn't make my stomach drop anymore. And the wildest part? I don't feel guilty. Not because I stopped loving them, but because I finally stopped confusing love with surrender. My grandfather used to say, if someone keeps stepping on your foot, don't argue about their intentions. Move your foot. That's what I did. I moved my life. And I'm not moving it back. What was actually happening here? This wasn't a sister needing help. It was a family system built on permission without consent. The antagonist's motivation wasn't pure malice. It was entitlement reinforced for years. Whenever Danielle panicked, someone else fixed it, and Benjamin was trained to be the quiet fixer. The parents acted as gatekeepers of family loyalty, using guilt to keep the pattern running. Benjamin tolerated it because he wanted peace and because being the reliable one gave him a role that felt like love. But the moment his home was taken, the mask slipped. This wasn't about closeness. It was about access. The escalation happened because boundaries were never respected, only negotiated until Benjamin gave in. The one thing this story teaches: boundaries aren't punishment. They're clarity. If someone treats your space, money, or time like shared property, explanations won't fix it. Only limits will. Benjamin didn't win by yelling louder. He won by choosing a calm, irreversible step. Secure the lease, document everything, cut off access, and move forward. That's what breaks generational patterns. Not dramatic speeches, but consistent actions. Here's what I want to know. If your family crossed a major line, like entering your home, spending your money, or making a life decision for you, would you still call it help? Or would you finally name it what it is? And what boundary would you set if you knew you wouldn't be judged for it? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear how you'd handle it.